Parenthood is difficult. You never really understand how tedious it really is until you're in the thick of it. I was born in a tropical paradise. Unfortunately for me, geography was not indicative of how my early life would pan out. My biological father was never in the picture while I was growing up. It was just my mom, my stepdad, and eventually my little brother. I don't remember much of my childhood, and most of the time, I feel grateful for it. What you don't remember won't hurt you, right? Turns out that's not always the case. You see, all truth emerges eventually, and this has proven to be true time and time again. I'm 26 now, a wife and mother. So here I am, all the responsibility of rearing a happy, healthy, productive member of society has knocked on my door, and all I can do is stare at the conveyor belt that is my life and see 20 years worth of baggage to unload. Where do I start? Where do I put it all? Well, I start with a memory that sits inside a foul-smelling carry-on bag. How bad can it be? It's a small bag. I open it up, and it's full of rotten potatoes. The rotten potatoes are me. Why potatoes, you ask? At 13, I was groomed by a 21-year-old man. My first time was with him. He didn't compel me or anything, and that's why it took me 24 years to understand I was taken advantage of. It took me birthing my daughter to know what happened to me was wrong. Something was taken from me, something I never got back. At 14, I confided in my mother about what had happened. Her response was, "And this is how you tell me? Like you drop a hot potato while walking?" With that, I was labeled sleazy by my parents, unworthy of trust and love, doomed. My stepfather went so hard on me, I had to miss school for a week. I stayed isolated for so long after that. The physical and mental offense continued for 4 years. At 18, I packed my clothes and I left. For 4 years after I disappeared from their lives, I was alone, but free. Free to be anything else than the horrid names I was called, yet I was far from happy. I went to college, I worked full-time, I had a lot going on around me, but inside, I felt as arid as the Sahara until I enlisted in the military. Before I left for training, I tried to make up with my mom. I tried my hardest to forgive and move on. It wasn't a great success, but we were on our way to a better place. I still had a huge chip on my shoulder because she never left my stepfather. She chose him over me every time, but I still tried to let things go. In the end, my mom is human too, and no one is perfect. I had to learn to love her from a distance, and I did. Once I got back from training, I decided to stay with them for a while, but the situation started deteriorating quickly. My stepfather decided to get physical again, although this time around, my mom chose me, or so I thought. She kept seeing him secretly, but I always knew. It wasn't until I sat down with her and started talking to me about him that something clicked. I always knew how bad his childhood was. I knew his family well, and yet it was at that moment that I understood. You can only give what you know, and all he knew was pain. So, I decided that it would end that day. I spoke to him. I told him that I did not care about the past. I told him I forgave him. Now, this man, whom I had always seen as a monster, was suddenly crying on my shoulder like a child, so weak and broken. I felt pity for him. All the hurt he inflicted was the same as what he had received. All the guilt and all the shame were all the same. Until that day. Until I decided it was enough. Now, as I look at my child and practice kindness, I am happy. My daughter will know her mother will be her ally always. My daughter will know she can find solace and comfort in me. We don't have to be our parents. We don't have to raise our children as we were raised. Parenthood is difficult. We all make mistakes. I hope my daughter will forgive mine.